Hi guys, Paul here from Meldrum Performance Coaching and the Meldrum Performance Coaching podcast slash video. This is part of a blog post that I've just put up. It's a reference to an article slash blog that I actually wrote in 2013, so a long time ago. And the reason I wanted to revisit it was to get free content. But no, in all seriousness, the reason why I revisited it was to see how my thought process has evolved over the last 7 years, which is quite a long time. So it's a really valuable thing to do as a professional in any field, to reevaluate what you used to think, how you used to behave, how you used to work, and see how it's changed. Because ideally, if you are learning, if you are improving, if you are getting better, your thought process would have changed quite significantly. So in the article that I wrote, it was basically talking about the maxim, everything in moderation. And I questioned whether moderation was a sensible idea in all context. When you want to achieve a goal, is moderation the fastest way to get there? And in the article, I talked about training goals, body composition, and athletic pursuits. So training goals, you can want to do everything, and that's okay, but what happens is you won't achieve everything at the same time. You won't be the best that you can be at any of those particular fields if you have multiple training interests. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. And for a lot of people, it's not a bad idea to train in a way where they're training multiple fitness qualities. I'm now of the opinion that multiple people get really too caught up in the idea of the interference effect when it comes to training. So they're worried too much about, going for a run, how it's going to destroy their gains. And we should know by now that that's definitely not something for 99% of trainees to ever be worried about. Now, in the article, I talk about CrossFit being a great system, which is totally okay. Now, for body composition, I also talked about, getting into incredible shape by being moderate, and it doesn't really work like that. You do need to go as hard as you can to get into incredible shape, but for most people, moderation is by far the best idea. So back then, I was very much orientated towards what's the best possible approach for every single human being, for every single goal. What's the absolute most driven, focused, and ideal way to achieve anything? And I used to put a lot of that onto my clients, which wasn't probably the best thing for them, because for clients, they have a lot more demands going in their life than the average personal trainer. Like, 2013 is a long time ago. They have families, they have full-time careers that take up a lot of their time. Their day doesn't have to revolve around training. So really, we should be training them in multiple fitness capacities to deal with that, rather than focusing purely on, say, powerlifting or strength training or whatever it may be. Now, athletic pursuits was the last part that I talked about, and how the best athletes are generally the ones who are the most driven. And a lot of this was taken from Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, where he talks about the 10,000 rule. Now, that rule has been debated and argued against and argued for quite a long time. And in the most current book on it that I've read is the book Range by David Epstein, where he talks about how, yes, there have been the Tiger Woods who do play golf every day from age 3, to people who have had very similar levels of success, but a lot more varied backgrounds in athletic endeavors. And so when I look back on this article, I thought, okay, cool. Well, one thing at a time. It's the only way to get good at what you want to do. So I at the time was quite obsessive with my training and also my study of training and personal training to get better. I've become a better coach, a better athlete, better all round by having a more diverse approach to training, to nutrition, to fitness. It allowed me to challenge some dogmas that I may have had, so some beliefs that you have to do things a certain way. It's allowed me to also have fun again. So having fun is something that a lot of people, when they're looking at excellence in the field, is they forget about. So there has been a massive evolution in my ideas around this and what I think it has to be. Do I discount the value of specializing and working hard? No, not at all. If someone wants to do that, I think it's an incredibly valuable thing to do for a certain context. What I encourage most of my students to do now is to learn about a diverse range of subjects as possible that can possibly help them, but also make them a more well-rounded individual and person, rather than just someone who's just focused on one thing at a time. what most students find when they kind of have permission to do that, or they think they have permission, they find that their lives are a lot more well-rounded, they enjoy things a lot more, they can spend time at work, focus on work and be present, and then they can go away from it and do other interests, and that's totally okay. So guys, this is just more of a thought process and how things have evolved. Is there anything that's evolved for you? I'd love to hear about it, and I'll be speaking to you on the podcast and video soon.